far in the northern mountains, wrapped in mist and silence, there lay a forgotten village called Dusper. In the center of this quiet place stood an old clock tower, tall and lifeless, its hands frozen for over 100 years. Time seemed to have stopped there. The villagers believed the tower was cursed, for whenever the clock struck 12 at midnight, someone in the village vanished without a trace. They said the clock didn't keep time, it took it. After the last disappearance, the tower was sealed shut, and no one dared go near it again. One foggy morning, an unfamiliar woman appeared at the edge of the village. Her eyes shimmered silver, her hair streaked with white, and around her neck hung a black scarf. In her hands, she carried a small wooden box full of delicate tools. Her name was Eira. No one knew where she had come from. She introduced herself simply. "I'm a clockmaker. I've heard your tower's clock has been silent for a century. I've come to fix it." The villagers stared in disbelief. The old shopkeeper clasped his hands and said, "Girl, that clock is cursed. When it strikes, people die." But Eira's face was calm, her eyes soft yet unyielding. She replied, "If a clock can measure death, perhaps it can return life too." The villagers begged her not to go. The baker said, "No one who enters that tower ever returns." Eira only smiled faintly. "I have nothing left to return to," she said, and walked toward the tower at dawn, when even the roosters had not yet woken. Inside, the tower was a tomb of dust and echoes. The wooden stairs groaned under her feet. Each step stirred a breath of cold air, as if the place itself were alive, watching her. As she climbed higher, memories flickered in her mind. Her father, a clockmaker too, who had disappeared years ago while working on a great timepiece. She had learned his craft ever since, believing that somewhere, somehow, time had swallowed him whole. At the top, she found a colossal mechanism of copper and rust. The gears were frozen, their teeth worn down, and cobwebs hung like old lace across the beams. On the wall, half hidden beneath soot, she saw words carved deep into stone: "To mend what's lost, give what's left." Eira traced the letters with her trembling fingers and whispered, "Then so be it." For 3 days and nights, she worked without rest. The tower filled with the faint sound of metal on metal, the rhythm of her tools striking against stubborn gears. Blood blistered her fingers, and her eyes burned from sleeplessness, but she did not stop. Outside, the villagers watched from afar, afraid, yet unable to look away. On the third night, when thunder rolled over the valley, silence suddenly fell. And then came the faintest sound: tick, dot, 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 tick, dot, dot, dot. The clock's hands began to move. The villagers gasped. One chime, 2, 3, each note rang through the frozen air like a heartbeat returning to life. With every toll, a golden shimmer spread from the tower, rippling through the village like sunlight breaking through water. When the 12th chime struck, the entire tower blazed with light. The villagers ran forward, shielding their eyes, and what they saw made their hearts tremble. The missing were returning one by one. Children ran to their mothers. Old men fell to their knees, tears mixing with laughter. Those who had been lost for decades were young again, whole again, alive, but Eira was gone. At the top of the tower, they found only her small pocket watch. Its lid was open, and the hands inside still ticked softly. Beneath the glass, a folded note read, "Every second can be borrowed, but never owned. I gave mine back." The villagers wept. They understood then that Eira had given up her own time to bring others back. She had traded the last of her hours for their lives. From that night onward, the great clock never struck 12 again. It remained still at midnight, as if in mourning. Yet sometimes, on the quietest of nights, when the wind stops, and even the river holds its breath, the people of Dusper can hear it, a faint, steady ticking floating through the air. Tick dot dot, tick dot dot, tick dot dot. And the children of the village, when they grow older, point to the tower and whisper, "A woman once lived here who could hold time in her hands." They do not know that the sound they hear is not the clock itself, but a promise made by a clockmaker whose gift outlasted time.